Good morning, all, and a happy weekend to you. Wow, there's a lot to unpack from the feedback yesterday, um, and to sort of contend with. I'm delighted. It seems to have certainly got people thinking and sort of coming back to me with their thoughts and engaging. So I'm delighted at that. So thank you for that. Um, the whole point of what I'm trying to get across is I want to see the situation improve. And there's a number of problems that I think are going on at the moment as to why people aren't engaging or valuing art and artists in a way that I think can be improved. So, um, things like the number of graduates. I'm not against the number of graduates as such. My whole point about that was I felt that was a situation that's being misled based around it being a career in a way that a lot of people will be concerned about, and sort of not being honest about the circumstances. I mean, if you're a coder, the demand for tech coding in certain languages is so great, and whereas the demand for artists, because of the business of it, is not there. So I think that honesty, if you're going to, if you have somebody that's wanting to be involved in art, is being clear about that and not sort of romanticizing the sort of possibilities. Um, so I'm certainly not against the numbers of people engaging with it, but I think it's a bit like, and if I can sort of make the parallel that I'm like a football manager, um, it's a case of going, we need some grassroots sort of quality coming through, you know. We need some decent training going on and some realistic sort of education. Um, One of the things that, I mean, Patrick, you brought up the fact that, what previously there were artists without qualifications. Well, I mean, yesterday a guy called Art Gnome who is in the NFT space who I follow, and I think there's a lot. He says quite a lot of interesting things, but yesterday he came out and said, as if sort of by validation of the NFT space at the moment, um, art does not require um, credentials to engage with. And I thought, well, where is it assumed that you do need credentials to engage with it? Do you need credentials to engage with maths? You don't. But, the fact that you participate and can do maths doesn't make you a mathematician. To engage with a subject, there's no barriers to engage with it. But then to call yourself a mathematician because you can do algebra um, seems sort of ridiculous. And I think the same is true of being an artist. Um, and that awareness is not part of our, sort of the perception of art. And so I'm wanting that knowledge that artists hold as to why Guernica, for instance, is an important painting. Um, you know, Anselm Kiefer, why, what going into his work. A lot of people are not even close to understanding the context of even something like the Night Watch. Why that is significant. All of the things that in it. It's just a famous painting to them. Um, and the artists that are then working with that knowledge and the depth of knowledge and the depth of thought and the depth of dedication to their work is far beyond somebody saying, well, I can draw a picture of Adele and sell it for flipping 50 quid. There's a completely different world to it. Um, and it's a bit like fast food. You to say that everybody can engage with food. I'm a chef. Well, yeah, you are, and there are some really great amateur chefs. But to be a chef professionally that's innovating recipes and providing you with good quality food, you know, that's a whole nother level. And I think the same is true with artists, and people don't perceive it as that because you get people, like a cricketer coming on mainstream television because he paints pictures, being the commentator and the arbiter of what art to engage with. I mean, delightful though he is. um, Now, there's a difficulty in my position, I suppose, in so much that there's an assumption that there's an elitism that is bad. And I don't believe there's an elitism that's bad when it comes to the quality of what you're consuming or participating in. The elitism that I think, Andrew, you keep referring to is the control and the gateway to it. And that I'm not for. It is for everybody to engage with, but I want to raise the expectations and the awareness of what is possible and the criteria that artists are contending with, because it becomes meaningless. And part of the problem is the online engagement with it too. So if you put in landscape painting into Google search, well, I mean, I had expectations of what might come up, and it varies. It changes pretty much. But oh my God, the quality of work that comes up. I mean, there's probably maybe 3 or 4 classic, notable, worthy landscape artists that come up in that search. The first few are diabolical, and I'm sorry to be that scathing about it. If you're one of those artists, I'm sorry. But the colours, the palette, the drawing, the lack of invention. And I want to see innovation. I want to see people taking the risks and being open to it. Because for me, one of the best art is when I'm going, I can't rationalize that. My first reaction is one of, is it, what is that? I haven't seen it. It's challenging me, and I can't rationalize it away. And when I find that it gets me thinking, and I want that experience. And when it's done with all of the skills and the sort of knowledge, that's substantial because it's so hard to do. And I want that recognised. Really, I want people to recognise that in the artists that they are exposed to, because I think that being open to the new is crucial to how we progress in society. The opening, the change, open to the different, the other, the change, and it doesn't, to just respond to things without thinking because I know I like it, well, then we're stuck, because there's a certainty about going, I like it, and there I know what I like. And we've got to get out of that, and to get out of that in ourselves requires thought. It does not require intuition. And we need to recognize that of ourselves. Anyway, grumpy old art person. I mean, I was hoping to have something a little bit more, uplifting and light to deal with. But again, thank you all for responding, and Justin for giving me. I'm glad it's sort of raised those thoughts for people to consider, because I think that the debate is important, because I think I'm in that space and I want it to be the best possible experience for people. But yeah, it's open to everybody. I want everybody to recognize it, that they can come into the space, but it's not everyone that's an artist. God bless.